Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our group coaching call. So excited to talk about this tonight. We're going to talk about emotional eating. So, last week on our one-on-one calls, this came up a lot. And so, I wanted to do a call with everyone so that we could talk about this and we can be ready for when it happens. Because a lot of times, we just need to be prepared so that when it happens, we know what to do. So, this is how to break the cycle and feel more in control. All right, so grab a pen and a notebook if you don't have one already. And if you're watching the replay, you can grab a pen and a notebook because you might want to take some notes. So question for you. Have you ever reached for food when you felt stressed? And you don't have to raise your hand, but you can just say yes or no in your mind. Have you snacked when you were bored? Oh, good, Brenda's coming. Okay. Snacked when you were bored or overwhelmed. So that's another thing. Or you've said, oh, why did I eat that afterwards? So if you've said any of these things before, you are not alone. And but these are all a part of emotional eating. So emotional eating, let's see, next slide. Okay. So what is emotional eating? Emotional eating is when we use food to cope with emotions instead of physical hunger. So a lot of times we're not, and hi, Brenda, great to see you. So a lot of times we're not necessarily physically hungry, it's just filling an emotional gap. So common triggers to emotional eating are stress, loneliness, feeling exhausted, feeling anxiety, boredom, or like food just becomes a temporary comfort. So any of these things can be under emotional eating. Okay. So why do women struggle with this? I mean, I know some men that struggle with this too, but it seems like in general women struggle. I'm just assuming women struggle more with this than men. But we're carrying a lot. We have our work responsibilities, our family and caregiving. Maybe we're carrying caregiving for an elderly parent or grandparent, and then also caregiving for younger children. We're going through hormonal changes. We are sleep deprived. We just have this pressure to do it all, right? And so food can feel like a really quick relief. Like, oh, I just need food, like you had a bad day, eat food, like something didn't go right, eat food. It can be just like a coping mechanism. So, emotional hunger versus physical hunger. So, physical hunger comes on gradually. Anything sounds good, like, and then you stop when you're full. So, like, if you're really hungry, and then I went to you and like, here's some celery and carrots, then you'd be like, yes, give me the food. But emotional hunger is more like sudden or urgent. You're craving for specific foods. Um, this often leads to overeating. And so, emotional, just to know the difference between emotional and physical hunger. So, like if you were like having, reacting emotionally and I went to you with the celery and carrots, a lot of times you'd be like, no, like it was funny. So one of the ladies that I was working with in the summer last year, she was watching a movie and it was like 11 o'clock at night and she texted me and she said, what about late night snacks? Like I really want some late night snacks. And I was like, well, if you pulled out some vegetables, you could have some vegetables during your movie. And she's like, no, I don't want those vegetables. And so that was more emotional hunger versus physical hunger. Because if she was really physically hungry, then she would have had those vegetables, but it was more of an emotional thing or even a social thing. Um, just feeling like you just want a snack, even though it's late at night. So knowing the difference between emotional and physical. Okay, so it's not a willpower problem. I think that's important to note. It's not like something you have to power through. Like a lot of times, it's our brain chemistry. It can be stress hormones, habit loops, or we just have behavior habits. I would say a lot of it is just the habits, those habit loops. Especially in our society, it's like this happens, food. This happens, food. And we're just like trained that automatically, if this happens, we eat food, right? And so habits are hard to break, especially if we've had them for years and years, and especially if it's like a coping behavior, then it's not something that we're going to just break automatically. And so you're not weak. We're not weak, including myself. We just need better tools, right? And so knowing how to cope with these can help us. So also knowing about stress and cortisol. So we just did our cortisol reset with the faster way, talking about cortisol. So when stress rises, cortisol increases. And when cortisol increases, appetite increases. And so this is something to know, like if you're feeling stressed out, but you feel like you need to eat more, that's like a scientifical, I don't know if you'd call it like it's something that actually happens in our bodies, that when stress rises, cortisol rises, and then that's increasing our appetite. So especially for cravings for sugar and carbs, those are going up. So our bodies, oh yay, Erin's coming. Okay. So our body is trying to find energy and comfort. And so anyway, so just knowing that like if you're in this habit loop and you're craving the sugar and the carbs, let's notice your stress level. Let's look at your stress level and say, like, how is your stress right now? Like, are there any big stressors in our lives going on? Um, so paying attention to that, because a lot of times it's getting to the root cause. Because if we're going like, okay, we need to pull back on the sweets, but we don't get to the root cause of the stress, then the stress continues and the cravings continue. So making sure that we're getting to that root cause. So prepping ahead. So yeah, that can save us time in the future. So the first step is really awareness. So being aware of this. So asking ourselves these questions like, what emotion am I feeling right now? A lot of times we don't really pause to notice the emotion. We're just like grabbing the food, right? It's like we had a bad day, grab the food. Like it's like an automatic thing. So pausing to think about like, okay, what am I feeling right now? Like if I'm feeling, anxious or stressed or sad or mad or whatever, even happiness, you could be feeling happy and you want to go celebrate and then you want to eat more junk food, right? So it's not necessarily a negative emotion. Like you could feel any type of emotion and that could be connected to, eating more food, eating more sugars and carbs. But thinking, am I truly hungry? Like, is this something I'm truly hungry? And what do I actually need? So pinpointing that emotion, like if you're sad, then thinking what you could use instead of food to help you feel, comforted during that time. Or if you're feeling stressed, like what could you do to help lower your stress? But thinking of what you actually need, because a lot of times we don't actually need the food. It's just kind of a band-aid to the root cause. Or it's like the band-aid and then the root cause is actually like needing comfort or support or stress relief or something like that. But being aware, then that can help us stop that bad habit. So okay, I like this these letters. Okay, so HALT. I never heard this before, but so the halt check. So before eating, you ask yourself, H, are you hungry? A, are you angry? L, are you lonely? Or T, are you tired? So those are just four different things. I mean, we talked about other things like being stressed or anything else, but these are just four that are commonly tied to emotional eating. So um, if we are really hungry, then we can go to water first, then protein, then veggies, right? We're going to talk about that in a second, like the order we've talked about. But if we are genuinely hungry, then we can go towards healthy foods. But if we're feeling angry, lonely, or tired, or maybe we're feeling bored, or, all these different things, most of the time it's not hunger. It's just we need to go back to, like I say, what do we need when we're angry? I mean, these are things that I haven't really thought about that much. Like when I'm angry, what do I need? Like maybe I didn't need to talk to someone, right? Like if I'm feeling angry, or maybe I'm feeling lonely. Okay, I need a friend. What if I'm tired? Oh, I just need to go straight to sleep instead of to the kitchen, right? I don't know about you, but when I get tired and it's night and it's so easy to just eat whatever is in the kitchen instead of going straight to bed, right? But we're tired. And so then, we're just like, oh, I want to eat. We don't need to eat. Okay. So pausing before we eat. So when a craving hits, like I said, like the order of how we're eating, or how, the order of eating and drinking, this makes a big difference. So, okay, craving hits, you're like, I need Doritos or whatever, donuts, I don't know, anything that you're feeling. So instead of going straight for those, and I wish I would have known this before because seriously, these tools are very helpful. So thinking, okay, I'm going to drink water. Like, so water first. And then I've heard this either way. Lately, I've been leaning towards protein first, then veggies, but I've heard it the other way too. So water first, then protein, then veggies. Um, do that first. And then if you're still feeling hungry, then you're like, okay, I'm actually hungry. But if you have water, then protein, then veggies, most of the time it could just satisfy it. And also, like, if it is at night, I don't think it's bad to eat if you are genuinely hungry. We talk about like dinner and done and, trying to keep within our fasting window. But if we are genuinely hungry, then I always do the water, protein, veggies. A lot of times I don't even get to the veggies. I'll just do water, protein. And then I'm feeling okay. But you never want to be like starving when you're going to sleep. So making sure that you're doing that, but it's worse if you're like donuts before bed, or cake or candy or whatever. Making sure you're picking healthy options. So, but when a craving hits, you can also take a walk, you can take a deep breath, you can chew gum. Those are just a few examples, but it's really good to like have a plan and have your toolkit like ready. Okay. And then also here's some more ideas like finding non-food coping tools. So a lot of these things could help us. Like if we're feeling angry or bored or sad, these tools could help us, like going on a walk outside, especially if it's sunny outside. That could like, I don't know about you. Whenever I go on a walk, I get always feel better. Like when I come back, I'm like, oh, much better, think the world is good now, or taking time to journal, like if you're feeling angry or sad or mad or whatever, like just writing it out, just writing it out in your journal, calling a friend to talk to them, listening to music, doing some stretching, but comfort doesn't have to come from food. And I think that's a big message is that we can gain what we can get what we need in those emotional times from things besides food. But be kind to yourself, know that you're feeling these emotions and it's totally fine to feel the emotions, but just don't turn to food for the coping. Don't turn to food when you could use something else that to satisfy that. Um, so something that helps with hunger is eating regular meals. So a lot of emotional eating can come from underfueling. So like if you're going hours and hours without eating, then you'll be feeling like, oh, I need to eat more, like you'll feel like more the urge to eat more because you are genuinely hungry, and so but then you'll eat too much, like you'll go a long time and then eat too much. So I love Faster Ways program with the protein at every meal, balanced meals. We're not skipping meals. We have our protein, our fiber, our healthy fats, our carbs. So this is going to stabilize our blood sugar and help us have fewer cravings. Because when we are having too much sugar or carbs, um, it's going to make us crave all of those things instead of helping us to have that balanced blood sugar. So it's really important to eat regular meals. Also, sleep too. So, sleeping is really important. When sleep is low, our hunger hormones increase, our cravings increase, our self control decreases. I would also add to this, like our emotions increase, right? Like it's a lot easier to get upset when we're tired and we haven't gotten enough rest. So, making sure we prioritize that rest. Okay. Then also, speaking to yourself with kindness. I think this is really important because like I say, emotional eating happens to all of us. Like it's something that happens. And so being like shameful or like upset with ourselves, like it's not going to help the situation. So, if we say things like, "Oh, I have no control," or like, "Oh, I'm so terrible," or whatever we say, just replace that with, "I'm learning new habits." Self-compassion creates change faster than guilt. That's so important. And so being kind to ourselves, especially like we will see more progress the kinder we speak to ourselves and get right back on track versus, beating ourselves up and telling ourselves we're, doing awful, then we're going to stay off track longer. So just like you would speak to a child or a grandchild or just someone you love, speak to yourself with that kindness. This is something I constantly have to work on. I know it's so easy to be so hard on ourselves. But remembering to have that kindness to help us have that motivation to keep going. Like we've talked about many times, progress over perfection, always. It's always about progress. I love this photo of this plant growing up out of the ground. That plant is doing its best and it's going to grow and the light is going to shine on it and keep growing. And, that's exactly how we are. Like we're just growing and learning, and it's always about progress and just moving forward. So take a second to imagine your future self. So I like this photo of this little girl looking at like when she's older, thinking of your future version of you. Imagine a version of you who feels calm around food, you eat intentionally, you have more energy, you trust yourself, and you're just taking it one healthy choice at a time. But always think forward of the type of lady that you want to become, and how you want to feel around food. So this is something you might not have thought about, you know, feeling calm around food, but that's something to work towards. If emotional eating is a struggle, then just imagine stepping into that version of you, like, however you are now, and then however you want to be. So, like, for example, like if you fall off track sometimes, imagine yourself like being kind to yourself and saying, you know what? I fell off, but I'm going to get right back on, giving yourself that compassion. Or maybe, you're just feeling calm around food and you're not feeling like I don't know. Like one time I remember I like was by all these donuts and I ate like 8 out of 10 donuts, and so now my future self, I'm like, I will have like half of a donut or one donut or something like that, but feeling calm instead of feeling like, oh, I should eat all of these. Like, my calm self is like, I'm gonna have one, but not the whole thing, right? So thinking about what you want to feel and what it's like. And then the last thing, of course, because I'm your personal cheerleader, is to say we've got this. We've got this one healthy choice at a time. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear from you. Like, what are some of your biggest takeaways from this that you're like, oh, that's something I definitely want to do. And you can unmute or you raise your hand either way.
I think just being aware when the emotions start hitting that, oh, I want that. And it's like when I have emotional eating, I don't want fruits and vegetables and protein. I want carbs, I want donuts, I want cake, I want cookies, I want chips, and none of that other stuff's gonna matter.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Diane. Yeah, so being aware, I think that's really important because a lot of times we have no idea. We're just like, I just ate all of that, and we're not breaking it down into like, okay, I had this feeling, like I had this emotion. What was like we're not breaking it down. We're just like going straight to the food. So I think that's really important awareness. Thank you. Teresa, were you going to say something?
Okay, yes. I was going to say the pause and think about what am I feeling right now? I need to practice that.
That's good. Yeah, like I say, some of these things I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that before, like taking a pause and noticing the feeling. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Brenda, do you want to add something?
Um, Maybe think of all of it. I don't know.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I like the halt thing. I guess I didn't think of it that way. Um, I like to snack at night, so I've really had to um, adjust and not do that anymore. I had to really learn that I was eating late at night, which means after 10 o'clock, because I stay up till about midnight. So I had to stop that. And the emotional thing, for me, it's more stress. And so I have to make sure that I don't have, I love chocolate chip cookies, so don't have that at work and just drink my water.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. Well, way to go on stopping the snacks after 10 o'clock. Woo!
And no, it was not vegetables either.
Yeah. It never is after 10 o'clock.
No, no.
That's so funny. That's awesome. Well, way to go. And yeah, and noticing that you're not having those chocolate chip cookies at work, that's a huge success. So
Right.
yeah, way to go. Great. Does anyone else want to add anything or any other thoughts or questions? Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching this recording, we'd love to hear from you if there's any other thoughts that you have. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I would love to take a photo. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to check the chat if anyone had any questions. Okay, it's the note taker. Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, let's take a quick photo and we'll share it in the group. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll do one more. Okay, ready? And 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Well, you guys are amazing. I hope you have a fantastic night, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.